Back with you at Crypto.com Arena, where tonight the Kings win in overtime. And now on the witness stand, Quinton Byfield, a big part of the Kings' present and their future. Often referred to as the player to whom Anze Kopitar will pass the torch. How do you feel when you hear that?
Yeah, obviously those are very high standard words there. Obviously Kopi's been here forever and future Hall of Famer. So it's high praise when I hear those words. And Kopi's taught me a lot. And I'm just trying to kind of follow in his footsteps as much as I can.
Okay, we'll get back to that in a moment, I think. But first, an homage to where you came from. This was you walking into Scotiabank Arena a couple of weeks ago to face the Leafs. Explain the sweater.
Yeah, well, I got to give a shout out to, Fogs on our team, Warren Fogle. He was the one who mentioned that he was going to be wearing the St. Andrews College sweater. And he was like, it's a hometown, kind of just pay homage to, where we played, where we grew up. And I said, that's a great idea. I'll throw on the YSC jersey. And, my mom and dad still work in that organization too. So it's, still in the family and still really special to me. So just thought it'd be good to, kind of pay back where I came from.
So just so we're clear, that's the York Simcoe Express, right?
Correct, yeah.
And the sweater just a little bit too small, 80 or 100 pounds later.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, it is a little. I was going to, the problem was, I'll tell you right now, I had that one's from, that was probably one of my first 2 years with York Simcoe Express, and the other ones I had the captain on it, and I was like, this is a little too cocky to be wearing the captain. So I was like, I can't be wearing that one there.
And then the perfect ending to that game in a King sweater with the overtime winner. There couldn't be a better way to end a big night like that in front of family and friends. Now, Kings took you overall second in 2020 the 2020 draft. The great Anze Kopitar was 14 years into his career at that point. So the Kings are already thinking, we will not have him someday. And there was a lot of talk at the draft about the player who would one day replace him.
While they've watched Anze Kopitar be a star for the LA Kings, lead them to Stanley Cups, and be one of the very best players all around in the National Hockey League. And that's what I see in Quinton Byfield. He wants to make an impact.
So there you go, Quinton. That's high compliments. Did you feel the pressure that came with it?
You know what? Obviously playing, following the footsteps of Kopi's, there's going to be a lot of pressure to it. And I'm just trying to do my best, just kind of just take what he's given me, just letting him kind of be a mentor and, just allowing whatever he says and, just picking that up.
Okay, back to the draft of 2020. It's the pandemic draft, and then Kings general manager Rob Blake called your name, and that touched off a party in the home of the Byfields in Newmarket, Ontario. There's Blake calling your name, and we'll see your family here in a second. So it was a small celebration. Because of the pandemic, you were denied the opportunity to march to the stage. But what I find interesting here is that your name is called, and pretty quickly you're handed a Kings sweater. Does that say that you were a lock to be picked by the Kings?
I'll tell you right now, I had no idea. I think, my family might have knew a little bit more than me and, my agents. In that moment, I had no idea where I was going. And,
did you have other sweaters there?
There's the Ottawa sweater there as well.
Okay.
So, there's a couple there. And I didn't know this at the time, but afterwards I saw that. But I was sitting there so nervous. I was just thinking, this is the team I'm going to be playing for the rest of my life and, where I want to be. And whoever, I was grateful enough to go to. I was so excited. I was sitting there. That's probably the nervous I've ever been in my life.
Okay, the slogan "Hockey is for everyone" means probably more to you than it does others because of your heritage. What were you thinking about being the highest ever drafted black player and what it could mean to the game back in 2020?
Yeah, I feel like during COVID too, there's a lot going into that with everything happening in the world, and I think that got a big insight on. And for me, it was just being able to kind of grow up and seeing some players in the NHL of my color and other diversity, and just being part of that, just being allowed to let other kids see that there's diversity in the league and people can play this game and you can go somewhere with it. So just kind of going like that, and want to be a hockey player first, but also that's on the forefront as well.
So you started a game with the Ontario Reign at one point on a line with Akil Thomas, Devontae Smith-Pelly, significant because it was the first all-black line in pro hockey since the 40s in the Herb Carnegie era. Thomas had a hat trick, and your line had 6 points. How special did that line feel for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. You know, obviously, you know, Smith-Pelly, you know, Colin Devo, he was amazing, you know, for us there. You know, just kind of being young guys and him being, you know, obviously a guy who's been in the league, who's won cups, and just being able to, you know, see his support of that. And then obviously Killer as well. So Keels, we call him Killer, but he's great. And, you know, it was just a special moment for us and a special moment for hockey there.
So the saying goes that they don't say how, they say how many. But in your case, and what I would assume is the prettiest goal of your career, we do say how. Here it is.
Face off to the right of Cam Talbot, and off the draw, Byfield quickly to center ice. With speed, Byfield around one man in on goal. Scores!
Now that's something. That was the season before last here in Los Angeles versus Columbus. Did I have it right when I said prettiest goal of your career?
Yeah, no, I think so by far. These guys keep walking back. They crack me up. No, that is the prettiest one by far. And, you know, on that play, I kind of just got the puck there, and I don't know what's thinking. It's one of those moments where you kind of just black out and just keep going. You know, I was kind of just doing stuff with my stick, my feet, and just try to get it on net, and, you know, ended up going in. So I've watched it enough times.
How many? Yeah, I was going to say, how many times have you watched it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little too many, I'll tell you.
So an unhealthy number of times.
Very unhealthy number, yeah. Kid Leroy.
That's Coach Jim Hiller. What did he say?
He said, listen to Kid Leroy. That's his favorite artist. So,
okay.
Got a little bond going
Yeah,
there.
well, let's talk about skill here. On the topic of skill, Pavel Barber's skill videos always go viral. Here you are with Barber cracking the Michigan codes.
A righty and a lefty, just tuck it behind your back to him, and he'll finish far side. And next one, flip it behind your back to your buddy. He'll catch it. Far side, Michigan. You got your buddy going far side. He'll flip it up like he's going to Michigan, toss it to you, and then whack it in. And
you know, you watch his videos, and I think you're left with the same thought, and that is I'd like to see someone try to pull that off in a game. We have seen Michigans, but variations like these, not so much. Any chance you're going to bring them to the NHL?
Yeah, I mean, I was struggling trying to do them, you know, there with him. You know, what he can do, you know, with all those skills, it's very impressive. Like the sauce one there, when he caught it, probably took him one try. So it's very, very cool to see what he can do with that. But, you know, I don't know if I have the skill to bring that out in the real game.
Okay, let's touch on your family quickly. Your father, Quinton, came to Canada from Jamaica.
Correct.
At 19. He met your mother, Nicole, when she was attending the University of Toronto. Your mother got you on the ice at age 2, but you were equally adept as a natural athlete at 3 or 4 other sports. So when did hockey become the choice?
Yeah, you know, I can't really tell you what age it was, but, you know, my parents were big into, you know, playing a ton of other sports, and that's what I kind of did. I played, you can name it, soccer, football, you know, even baseball, volleyball, like you can name it, track and field. So, you know, I was lucky enough to be able to, you know, go with whatever sports, you know, I was able to go to, and, you know, here and here too. So, you know, once hockey really became the forefront, you know, I had to get going.
Understood. Wise choice. Got a long career ahead of you. Thanks for joining us. Wish we had more time, but that's what happens when we get to overtime. Quinton Byfield, the LA Kings, was our guest. Back to conclude proceedings in a moment.